Kia ora, Helen Brahms here coming to you live from Crossville, Tennessee. Hope you're all having a super fantastic sparkling day. It has been an awesome day here today. But before we get to that, how did you do with your challenges today? Let's see, the mindset one was about happiness. Which happiness did you go after? Did you take a nap for just an hour? Did you go fishing for a day? Did you inherit a fortune for a year? Or did you decide to take the lifetime happiness by serving others, helping others? Oh, hello. You going to say hi to everybody? She's whining. I'm on the phone again. Here she comes. Gonna look out the window? There you go. It's been raining. It's really weird. It's like sunshine in that direction, rain right over top of us. So, yeah, it's kind of a little weird. So how did you find your happiness today? Did you say to help somebody so you could have a lifetime of happiness? And then on your business, how did you get on with connections? Did you make connections with others? She decided to sneak up and see if she could get it. She's so funny. Did you help some of your network connect with other people Did you manage to help some people in your network connect with others in your network? I love doing that. That's one of my favorite things. One of my favorite things to do with my network is find out who they need to be introduced to, or what sort of people they're looking for, and help them find those people and get the connections going. I got to do something, so I was really happy, which fell in line with helping others. Look at how that works. See, you help others, so you help people connect, and by helping people connect, you are helping others, so therefore you're now getting into a lifetime of happiness. See how all of that works? And then for your fun challenge, how did you do with your obstacle courses today? Did you do the ones inside or outside? Did you make them fun and challenging? And how did you get on? Did you time them? Did you have races through the obstacle courses? All sorts of fun that you could have there with that. For me today, I had, I ended up with a coaching call with my business development manager at Cruise Planners, and talking about how I've restructured everything, with how now I'm concentrating on the heritage tours, which is part of the Your Family Tree Detective business. It's called In the Footsteps of Your Ancestors. And then telling her about my specialty destination is still Australia and New Zealand, still focusing on those. So private customized tours to both places, whether it's a person or a family wanting to go and hunt out their the places their ancestors came from, and go check them out, look at the history of the place, get to hear some of the stories from around there, do some research while you're there, that sort of thing. And my dog has gone crazy. And then the other side is those that want to visit Australia and New Zealand. So I've got some really cool things in the works and in the planning, and I'm busy planning the stuff for Australia and New Zealand. Hang on, I got a whiny dog. There you go. Go play with that. So I got to have a good chat with her about that. And then I had 2 accountability calls today. Two. So my first one was with my business coach to talk about my goals and where I am with them, what I've accomplished so far, and what's still left to be done. So that was really good to get that done. I always love that, and turning around and saying, hey, this is what I did this week, because we meet every Wednesday. And then my other one was with my, Think and Grow Rich partner, working our way through this. We did, what chapter did we do today? We did chapter, I think it was 5. Yes, chapter 5 on auto-suggestion. It's a really cool chapter. I don't think I have ever marked a chapter so much as I've marked this chapter in this book. I mean, there's just, it's interesting when you're reading through this about how the subconscious mind works. It doesn't matter if it's a negative thought or a positive thought, whatever you keep feeding into your mind, that's what's going to spit out. So if you're constantly putting negative in there, you're only going to get negative. I don't understand why it's going so bad. Stop. Turn it around. I don't know why I have such an awesome life. I have such an awesome life. Put the positive in there. It said, one of the things that stuck out with me, it says, your subconscious mind recognizes and acts upon only thoughts which have been well mixed with emotion or feeling. So if you are feeling, if you've got those emotions and feelings going when you're thinking the positive thoughts, then your subconscious is going to absolutely register those and start putting the positive back out. The same with the negative stuff as well. I mean, even if something negative happens to you, find a way to push through. I know from personal experience that it can be hard. And the quote that I talked about the other day, that something about when you think you've been buried, you've actually only been planted. And it struck me, I can't remember the whole quote. Hang on, I did write it down in here somewhere. Sometimes when you're in a dark place, you think you've been buried, but actually you've been planted. And that quote struck me the other day when I first read that, because it reminded me of all the dark places that I've been in where I thought I was in a tunnel, but the light kept getting extinguished at the end of the tunnel. You know, and I used to tell Brad, oh, we're just going around a curve in the tunnel right now. And but looking at that quote and then looking back at the challenges and stuff that we went through in the dark times and things, it was suddenly sort of like, okay, so at the time I was actually buried, I just had to reach up and keep growing, which is basically what I did to, and basically what Brad did too, to get us out of that darkness. So this book with the chapter on autosuggestion was sort of like, we kept putting a lot of positive into yes, we had negative times and we would feel down. Fortunately, when we were having down periods, it was only one of us that was down at a time. The other person was there to help lift the one that was having the struggle up. So we were very good at batting backwards and forwards between each other. If one was down, the other would help pull them back up again. So there was a lot of growing and a lot of communication that went on during that time. So the thing with the autosuggestion, we kept putting in as much even though we were in a dark place, we kept feeding in the positive. Yes, you know, if we got bad news, and it kind of felt like we're back at square one again, or that light at the end of the tunnel had been extinguished, we still found a way to get around it. We found, found a way to get through the struggles that we were going through. Sometimes, you know, it was just picking the other person up and carrying them for a little bit and helping them get through those struggles. So that chapter today with the autosuggestions was really, really cool to, I've been reading it through the week, because we take a week, we work on a chapter for a week and then we get together and come back with our ideas and our thoughts and stuff. So really enjoying going through this, and it's kind of making me want to go and watch. They have thinking. Did you want to go? But there's nobody out there. Who are you? Sorry, total squirrel. So reading through this book again makes me want to go back and watch Think and Grow Rich, a Legacy, the movie. If you haven't seen it, just Google Think and Grow Rich, a Legacy, the movie, and I think it's like $99 for a lifetime pass where you can go in and you can watch all of the whole movie, plus you get the electronic version of the book that goes with the movie. It's not the regular Think and Grow Rich. This is about, and Think and Grow Rich Legacy takes you through some of the stories that you read about in the actual book. They've got them acted out. And then they have, there's other Think and Grow Rich books too. There's Think and Grow Rich for women, there's Think and Grow Rich for African American, there's Think and Grow Rich for Latino, and they take stories from those books as well and act them out as well when it relates to the chapter. So each chapter that they work through in Think and Grow Rich, they have successful business people. They have icons that you come across. I know a lot of the Shark Tanks on there. Bob Proctor's on there. Bob Proctor has been studying this book on a daily basis since sometime in 1966. That's 54 years. 54 years, I had to think for a second, that he's been studying this book daily. And in the movie, he said he is just scratching the surface of this. And I'm like, oh my gosh, look at all the success that he's had, the empire he's built. And he said he's only just scratching the surface of this book. And I thought, okay, I got to live another 54 years just to get to that point by studying this every day. I wasn't sure if I was prepared to do that, but who knows? We're on track right now. So the Think and Grow Rich, the Legacy movie is, it goes through each chapter and they have different people in the business world who have had success through using the principles in Think and Grow Rich, and they come in and talk about, this is my favorite chapter because, or I found this chapter very useful to help me do blah 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 blah. So you get to see these interviews which are intermingled with scenes that they portray with actors acting out the various stories that are throughout the different Think and Grow Rich books, not just the original one but also the other ones that they've got out there, specifically by like I said, they've got the Latinos, they've got the African American one, and they've got the women one, and I don't know what other ones they have. But basically, for those other three, what they've done is they've taken the basic Think and Grow Rich book and they've taken some of the stories out of there and replaced them with stories of people who reflect who the book is for. So in the one for women, there's a lot more stories about women in business who have succeeded or have overcome a struggle that pertains to whichever chapter they're talking to. The African American one, there's a story in there which I just absolutely love, and I am so sorry, I cannot remember the name of the woman that was involved with this, but there's this, this teacher turns up at a school and there's this little 5-year-old girl sitting there, and she had run 5 miles to get to school that day, and she was one of, I think, 11 children. It's been a long time since I've seen the movie, so this is going on recall. And I think she said she was one of like 11 children. I know there was a big number of children. I think it was 11. And the teacher said to her, she says, well, what about your brothers and sisters? Why aren't they coming to school? Oh, well, they have to work. Well, then how are they going to learn anything? She says, oh, I'm going to teach them. And so this 5-year-old girl, this little girl that was 5 or 6 years old, that was running 5 miles to and from school each day, was going home and teaching her brothers and sisters how to read, how to write, and all the other stuff that she learned at school. But then she went on to become one of the top teachers in the US, and this is during the time, I'm trying to remember which first lady it was that she actually went to the White House to meet. I want to say it was Eleanor Roosevelt that she went to meet, and this is when she was when she had grown up. She had become a teacher. She was receiving this top honor award thing, and it was at this function that the First Lady was going to be attending. They got to meet in person beforehand and have tea together, and then the First Lady insisted on being sat next to this African American lady who was the honoree for this event, which in those days at that time was not heard of. And but the First Lady put her foot down and said, make it happen, and so it did. And I just love that story. I wish I could remember the people, because it just, things flash into your head every now and again. So it was great and I thought, I would love to go and get that copy of that book and read the stories that are in there. But I'm going to be looking through. I've got the PDFs, and also if you do the lifetime membership one, you also get access to the parts of the interviews that did not make it into the movie as well. So you get extra time with all of these people, and there's I think it's 45 minutes to an hour extra with Bob Proctor in there and his stuff. And then you get the music for the movie. You get to download that, and there's a whole bunch of other extras as well. And it was like $97, I think it was, for lifetime access. So if you want to check out Think and Grow Rich: A Legacy, the movie, just go Google it and you will find it there. And it's got all the details about what's in what package and all of that. But I got I think it was like $99 or $97, something like that, about $100. And you get all this extra material, all these PDF downloads that you can have, these extra interviews and stuff. And you can get to load it onto your phone as an app. So I can watch it on my phone, I can watch it on my laptop. Got to figure out how to hook up my laptop to the TV so I can put it on the bigger screen, so I'm not sitting here looking at the small screen. But yes, I had the accountability call for my Think and Grow Rich up to chapter, what did I say, 5. It was the one on auto-suggestion. So next week we're working on, so this coming week we are working on chapter 5, Specialized Knowledge, Personal Experience, or Observations is the name of that chapter. So it's going to be fun. But I have a great accountability partner for that book. And then what else did we do? We worked on some Facebook ads. Remember I did those classes the last 2 weekends, so I've been working on some of those and hoping to put them live tomorrow, and be interested to see what results we get out of that. And I think that was basically kind of the day. I did some genealogy research. That was the other thing. I got to do some more genealogy research today, so that was kind of cool. I was kind of feeling a little out of sorts, and so I got on and they actually had it planned in my calendar, so I got in there and only spent an hour. I was very good, and got some genealogy research done. And it's really funny because on Ancestry these little green leaves come up, and a lot of people will look at the leaves and go, oh yes, that's my relative, click, 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 when it may not be. You got to go research. Don't just take the hints as being gospel that they are your ancestor or your relative. You have to go and research. Like, it came up with a person that I knew lived in New Zealand, and it had them on a directory in Washington, and I thought, did that person, I thought, hang on, I have a feeling they did move to the States. So I went and did a little more research before I accepted those facts, and found the information that I needed, was able to go back and accept those records as being, yep, that belongs to them. They did move to the States, they did live there. So I was able to go back and accept that. And then I found another one. That says they came from England. Now, was he born? Because I didn't have a place where this person was born, and I thought, I wonder if he was born in England. And so I went and had a look at the shipping list where it had who the person came over with. Like, it had his name as master, because there was only 7 at the time, and I had a look at the thing, and then I went back and had a look at his family list, and it all matched up, and I'm like, so I went back and had a look at the records of his family to find out that they were originally from England, and so looked at the census, pulled in other records, had a look at those to confirm that these passengers that were on this passenger list were them, and they were actually going from London down to Australia, and then they went from Australia across to New Zealand, because that was the way their ship was going. But the passenger list they were leaving London and going to Sydney, which was the first part of the leg. Then there'll be another passenger list with them going from Sydney across to New Zealand. So yeah, I was able to confirm all of that too. So I was like, yeah, we're on a roll today. So it was kind of cool. And then there were a couple of records that I looked at and I went, yeah, I don't think so. But check them out anyway, just in case. You never know. And when I was doing my confirmation process, I found out that nope, they definitely were not. And so I was able to reject those hints. But some people, when they get into Ancestry or they get into the other programs that are out there, like MyHeritage, Family Tree Org, and other ones where they come up with suggestions of, hey, this may be they say, this may be your relative, this may be your ancestor. Maybe. Big key word there. Maybe. It doesn't mean they are. It doesn't mean they're not. You got to research first to verify. So going in and verifying the records, a lot of people just go, oh yeah, that's them, they were there at that time, click, click, click. Come to find out later on. Like, for example, I had to go through 181 John Eakins that was born between 1853 and 1856 to find the one that fitted in my family tree. 181 I had to go through to verify, to find the one that fitted in my tree. And those were, that it was a 3-year, 1853 to 1856, 3 years, all in the same area. So if they were outside that area, they were discounted, because we knew from the family tree so far that we had established that they were very well established in that particular county within England. And so we had a look. So anything outside that county, we immediately took out and put them to the side. Didn't completely delete them, but just put them to the side and went through the others. 181 John Eakins in that one county, born in those 3 years. It was almost like looking for John Smith. It was that, and it took me a while, but I finally found. I had to go through 181 of them to find the one that fitted. So he was the 182nd one. So I'd been through 181 of them, and then number 181 was the one that I was looking for. So I didn't have to go looking at the other ones after that. But there was like over 200 that had come up on that search in that area during that time. They were born during that time period. So yes, there is a lot of research that goes into genealogy, and I personally love the hunt. I love getting a haystack of needles and finding the thread, and then just starting to pull that thread through. And where's it going to lead you? You never know. You might pull out a skeleton somewhere along on that thread as well. Oh, there might be little family secrets. Oh, did you know there were twins in the family? Oh, no. Oh, let's keep going. Oh, hang on. That's not the mother of that child. Who is the mother of that child? Let's keep pulling. So you never know where they'll go. It's kind of cool. It's sort of like, oh, he disappeared. We're at the end of the thread. Where did he go? Now we've got to find the other thread that picks up that one and then go figure out where he went. trying to do that with my 4th great-grandfather. Yes, we finally confirmed the 3rd great-grandfather, and at the time, and he was baptized when he was 5. We had an address for his dad and an address for his mum. They were 2 different ones, and then underneath his baptism record was the baptismal record for his half-brother, because the mother had now married the guy next door, but we don't know what happened to the father. And unfortunately, he has a common name. Like, in that time, the common names within the family tree at that time were George, William, John, Thomas, and there's one other. What's the other one? George, William, John, Thomas. There's one other. Oh, I've forgotten it. George, William, John, Thomas. Oh no, those 4 were the most common ones. And like I said, you may have been looking for John Smith. That's how common their names were at that time. And and of course he was, my 3rd great-grandfather was named after his father, because his father was a William Eakins, and my 3rd great-grandfather was also William Eakins, but they had different middle names. So now we're trying to find my 4th great-grandfather. We found him on a census where it said that he was one census said he was a foreign agent, and then another document, might have been the birth certificate for William Eakin, for the son, said that he was the census said that she was the wife of a jeweler, and on the birth certificate it had that he was a foreign agent. So I was like, oh, a foreign agent, a spy. Ooh, we had spy in the ancestry. That's why I like digging so much. But no, I actually think it was that a foreign agent as somebody who went out on the ships to foreign countries and did buying and purchase. Merchant was like a merchant that would go out and buy things and bring them back to England and that sort of stuff. Because later on it said he was a jeweler, and so I thought, now the foreign agent and the jeweler thing kind of makes sense. He was out a lot on ships, sourcing jewels and something and bringing them back to the UK or whatever. But I will eventually find him. That much I do know. But anyway, that's it for today. I have a DOG that needs to go for a WALK. She's busy looking out the front window at the moment. And I have to tell you, with this dog statue, I told you the story about her with the dog statues yesterday morning, about how she sort of like, and she was sort of like not sure what to do. The fur across the back of her neck was all standing up on end and everything else. She wasn't sure what to do with them, and she sort of like darts away and darts back at them again, like she's trying to engage them in play, but not really. And she couldn't understand why they weren't responding. They were just standing there staring at her. She didn't like that. So when we went past today, you know how the dogs do that little prancy trotty thing at the dog shows when they walk them down and walk them back again? That was her this morning. She was head up, perfect posture, and she was up on her toes, and she trots past these dogs, sort of like look with her head slightly tilted towards them as though saying, I'm better than you, and trots on past them. That was the only look that they got this morning. And I'm just cracking up laughing. My dog was posturing. So she now trots past these other dogs with her head held high in perfect formation. So if she was in a dog show, she would, if you know the little prancy thing they do up and down. That was her today, perfectly done. Strides were perfectly even as she pops herself up and basically on her toes, not on her feet, but on her toes. She went up on her toes. And does this prancing trot past them. It was hilarious. I know Gus used to do the prancing trot as well, and he was such a big dog, and to see him looking so delicate when he pranced was hilarious as well. But this one's just a little dog, and it looks like her feet are barely touching the ground. That's how well she does it. But yeah, so that's her reaction to the dog statues now. She now prances past them. So anyway, that's it for now. I gotta go. The rain's now stopped, so now it's time to take the DOG for WALK. We will catch you guys tomorrow morning with your challenges of the day. Have a super fantastic sparkling evening. Hei konera.